Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week was our theater picks. We picked Doctor Strange, made in 2016. We also picked Marco Polo, Season 1, Episode 3. And this week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Ryan Preston. So
Hold on. We need to say goodbye to Robert Vaughn, who died last week when we were supposed to do the show, but we had to postpone it. I don't know.
Robert Vaughn.
Yes. The guy, we did a couple movies with him.
I know. I'm gonna be upset when I fucking.
Yes, you are. Because he's one of the best keel actors of all time. And, he just kept a really good persona in all of his roles.
Oh, fucking Robert Vaughn.
Yes. Yeah, he died last week. Unfortunately, it looks like we're just losing a lot of really great actors. We did do a movie with him that I know of right off the top of my head, Basketball.
Yes.
He was in there.
Fucking A, yeah.
I mean, he did an amazing job in that one.
Fucking Bullet, man.
Bullet, yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a bummer. So
Yeah.
Oh shit, he was in the original Mag 7. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So our condolences go out to his family and friends.
Yeah.
And fans.
Yes. Me being one of them, since the other guys were Robert Vaughn.
I knew as soon as I saw the face. I'm just not good with names.
Yeah.
So here's the description of Doctor Strange, made in 2016. A former neurosurgeon embarks on a journey of healing I'm sorry, I'm going to restart this. A former neurosurgeon embarks on a journey of healing only to be drawn into the world of mystic arts. And this isn't the first journey that we've had in entertainment as far as Doctor Strange. Besides the comic books, there was a made-for-TV movie made in 1978, and I've watched it, and it's loosely based on Doctor Strange. The guy's name is Strange. That's really about what's similar to that. And there was an animated Doctor Strange made in 2007, and is a verbatim of at least one of the comic books.
Yeah.
And so I'll go first. I really actually liked this. It's a lot of bit of a rotoscoped acid trip. I do think that if you really want to goof with one of your friends who's an acid head, have him take acid and have him watch this movie.
Yeah, well, that was Doctor Strange. I mean,
he
always goes through dimensional portals, things change. A lot of trippy stuff in the old comic books.
And I really liked this. There were bits and pieces that weren't my favorite. We'll get more into that, but one of the things I was really surprised by was how much I did not hate Tilda Swanson in this role.
Yeah.
I really went into this really thinking I was going to hate what they did because I'm a little bit of a purist when it comes to source material, but I didn't notice it as much. So for me, this movie is a strong 4 to 5. Doesn't quite deserve the 5, but it's a strong 4 to 5.
I agree with you on everything. I mean, when you first see Tilda Swanson, you're kind of thinking, does
Swinton.
she have...
For Christ's sake, her name's Tilda Swinton.
Shh, I was messing it up like John. Just roll with it.
I did it to mess with you.
Anyways, I was expecting her to have arrow tattoos on her head. I mean, she looked really angish. It was kind of a little bit disappointing in that. John's busting up laughing. But she did really well with the role. I got to give her credit there. I mean, again, I was kind of thinking that. And I hate saying it, but Cumberbatch. I know. Cumberbatch actually did a really good job as Doctor Strange. I was actually very impressed. He played the character really well. I mean, it was kind of like taking versions of House and incorporating into the character. But that's really what he was at the time. He was very egotistical early on.
And I would say also a little bit of his Sherlock role kind of played into this a little bit.
I didn't get a Sherlock sense out of it.
Really? I did a little bit. I mean, not as insane as he plays the character. It felt to me like it was toned down just a tad.
All right. Ryan, how did you feel Mr. Cucumber did?
Before he goes, your rating.
I gave it a 4. Did you like Cucumber's role in this one?
Yeah, Cucumber always delivers for me. I'm a fan ever since Sherlock. But no, I mean he was perfect for it. I mean, which is why he was the first choice, to play him. I thought the origin was perfectly done. You know what I mean, as far as like kind of the general story of who he was and how he became who
I
he
thought
is
they wrapped that up very
was
succinctly.
just fine. As far as just like a damn good fall blockbuster, really impressed with this thing. A couple of things. One, the visuals were amazing. We've gone a long way since like the Transformers just twisted metal in front of your face. You can't really tell what's going on.
It's a
to
little
this
bit
like really deliberate. Hey, look at this world we're creating in front of you.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed kind of a weird mix of Inception, a little bit of the Matrix, and a few other things combined.
Totally. I mean, they were really throwing it all there, but it didn't feel like they were stealing from all of these things. It felt really unique to everything that they were kind of doing. And also, this is like the perfect type of, not everybody likes superhero movies, but if you do, you might not be like the world's biggest fan and you're going to see all of them, where you need to be sort of caught up because everything's a sequel now. You have to have seen other movies for you to go to the movies nowadays.
Yeah.
And so here's this kind of standalone, hey, look, here's just a new character. It almost has nothing to do with the Avengers movies or a sequel to something else. So it's this like, oh yeah, no, my parents can go see this without having to watch 12 other fucking movies before they get it.
What's your initial rating?
4, man. It's a really, really solid flick.
I
mean, just fun kind of all the way around,
I will say the couple of benefits for me is, one, well, I know the origin story of Doctor Strange. They haven't been doing it for the last 30 plus years. And this particular one, I was afraid of it was going to be a little heavy or heavy-handed. This movie was, if you get what I'm saying, a little light. They just kind of went.
It was fun.
Yeah. I was really impressed because I was really worried about that.
It still had the strange aspect to it, pun absolutely intended.
They didn't bog it down with useless details, which is what I was afraid of. And he didn't do the stupid, like sort of blah blah blah, like he does in the cartoon or the comic books,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean this movie, it's part of the universe, but this standalone little thing that they can throw in there, like watching the first Iron Man, just that kind of a good time.
See, to me, that's the one part that I wonder what it's going to do in the sequel, because all the Marvel movies, they start good, but the sequels just suck.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I wasn't a big fan of Iron Man 2 or 3, but I mean, when you got somebody that fits a role like that, like, I mean, you got Robert Downey, who fits Iron Man perfectly, and then you get somebody like Cumberbatch, and he fits the role so well that I do see sequels coming out of it. Obviously, there's going to be some stuff with the Avengers if you dumbasses didn't wait for the credits to finish. Yeah, there is going to be more. I mean, so that's an exciting thing, but I'm not sure how they're going to do that because Doctor Strange was never an Avenger.
He
interacted with him
on the fringes. He had a different an area of expertise.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to happen. He'll be on the periphery of the story. Unless it's something like majorly magical. Like you notice, he announced was it Benedict Wong announced there was an Infinity Stone in the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling he's going to be involved in that. I did want to make
the thing is I like that it leads towards these larger things, and we're going to get to see him as a character in Avenger movies. But I appreciate it just as, I don't want to keep harking on this, but yeah, just that kind of standalone, everybody can enjoy this flick,
Yeah.
I do want to say on the cast, there wasn't anybody in this movie, and I'm really surprised because there's always somebody that everybody was really good. You got the guy who played Mordo, who was, especially if you watch the ending scenes, he was the perfect cast. Benedict Wong was a great pick. There's this whole movie had an amazing pick, and for once I was able to actually just not realize, hey, it's Khan in the bad Star Trek movie, or it's Sherlock. You actually get lost in his character a little bit and just let the shenanigans happen.
Yeah, or the bad guy from Casino Royale, Mads Mikkelsen. I think he did a good job as the early on bad guy.
I do think the eye effect was a little odd.
Yeah, that was a lot of makeup, dude.
It bothered me in the fact that it took me out of the character a little bit. I mean, I guess I kind of understand what they were trying to do, but I thought it was odd.
I could see that.
The other visual I really liked was in, I don't remember their sanctuary's name, what they called it, but the one in New York, we had the window, those doors, where you could kind of
adjust it.
That when they used that in the one battle scene in there, I was like, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really, really nice touches. Matter of fact, I think I said this when we watched Suicide Squad. You know, that they went with like Enchantress and things like that. These sort of magical elements of the comic book world are not only just as interesting, but we're seeing a time with the technology that can actually be really, really entertaining and not look cheesy as shit.
Yeah, I was very impressed when she took him out of his body and took him through all those dimensions. That was really cool because I was wondering how they were going to handle that aspect of the Doctor Strange universe, because it really is his own universe.
I do love the fact she kicked him out at first. Like, after you show somebody's all that, and you say, I don't need you.
Yeah.
So what did you think? What's cool is all the explanations that was given was really when he was kind of figuring it all out.
Yeah.
So it was all kind of like, oh, here's just kind of the cursory explanation. We're not really going to bog you down with all the physics details, you know?
Yeah, I was actually very pleased with the way they did that because... like I said before, there was a lot of stuff in the Doctor Strange story and universe that you don't get from all the other comics because he works outside of our normal dimensions. He
right.
Yeah.
And I like how they got him up to speed instead of doing the Kingdom of Heaven approach to one blacksmith, boom, genius.
Yeah.
They actually gave a little bit of explanation far as he can remember stuff. He's a speed reader. I appreciated that little touch. I do kind of hate when you jump to characters one way, then next minute he's something else.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It's always interesting to me that basically every character, like, just go and look up like the top 100 comic book characters, look up their bios.
Yeah.
Under like powers and abilities. Every single one of them, almost without fail, is superhuman intelligence. Yeah. Like everyone's a genius. You know, so everyone's got that little MacGuffin. You know, Superman can just flip through a book and memorize it. You know, he was a doctor and was a speed reader. You know, that kind of stuff.
And Batman's
There's always
just
gonna
badass.
be one of those little gimmicks.
But that's a gimmick that works at least. It's not like in some movies like, oh, he's a genius. You know.
Yeah, we're not all doogies.
Jeez. So, now what did you guys? What did you think about the spin at the end? Did you hate it? Did you like it? Did it not bother you?
It didn't bother me.
I thought it was at least an interesting explanation how the Ancient One lived for so long.
Yeah, I mean it was, but you know it was something that you know you kind of were already expecting it.
Well, the part that I was wondering was how did she not get corrupted by it? That was the only bit of like explanation I wish they talked about or showed or, you know, little explanation, because that was the one part to me. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
I'm pretty sure she did talk about balance, and that's kind of where that kind of covered that. But you never know. I mean, there could have been something else that they wanted to go for, but they didn't. You know.
So anything else?
By the way, did anybody else catch Stan Lee reading the Doors of Perception?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I love that little moment.
The person I went with was just wondering where's Stan going to be the entire time, you know? And I'm like, you know, he's generally always around.
I read somewhere that
By the way, in case anybody doesn't know what the Doors of Perception are, it's about a guy whose name I'm not going to remember, Huxley, I think. Basically, it's about a dude doing mescaline.
Yeah.
I've heard they've filmed like the next like 5+ Stan Lee cameos.
Oh wow!
Just in case if he dies or gets too old to be able to do anything.
Oh, that's dark. Oh man, that's like.
Hey, I'm just telling you what I read.
That's a front of mortality that I don't really want to think about too much. Like George R.R. Martin telling somebody how Game of Thrones ends just because he's overweight. That's sad.
Well, don't wait. You don't have to wait too long with that. Just watch HBO next year when it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I was trying to think. The other thing I really appreciated was the magical items. I like the little twist about how they select you.
Yeah.
That was cool, because usually stuff like that in movies, it's like, oh, you find them and you use them, not the fact that they have their own quirks and personality.
Yeah, like
the coat.
Cloak. Yeah,
that coat was cool. I really like the fact that. So
Cloak.
I'm gonna keep saying coat.
Okay.
So my rating still sticks.
Wow, he went up a point.
Right?
Like
my rating,
past our ratings.
My rating still sticks at a 4.5. It's a fun movie. It's a great movie. And Ryan says there's not a lot of cost to entry in this movie like Marvel movies do at this point.
Yeah.
To me, this is about as fun as I had watching Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man. It's not as heavy-handed as the other ones were. So no, 4.5 out of 5.
All right.
James?
I'm sticking with a 4. I think it was a really good movie. I'm not saying that there wasn't things that they could work on. There were a few things, nothing of major note. So it sticks.
Ryan?
Yeah, I mean it's about as much as I expect, sort of from just kind of a great little fall blockbuster,
Yeah.
So 4 out of 5.
It kind of brought it back for me a little bit. It's been a while since I've sort of been excited about like walking out of the theater like oh yeah, good.
I haven't been excited about
a couple of moments that dragged and whatnot. It's not a perfect movie, but it was really, really fun. Definitely going to be watching this shit again.
I definitely will be.
So
too.
4 out of 5?
Yeah, sticking with the rating, yeah.
So next we're going to talk about Marco Polo Season 1, Episode 3, and I'm going to hand it over to James.
I wanted to pick this one because, it skips the part where his father pretty much just hands him off to the con, his adjustment period. But he's still adjusting in this episode, and I really liked the way interactions between his master and just getting shown how to fight and how to learn.
I love the insult in this. The part where's he from? Venetian? Is it Venice?
Venice, yeah.
How Venice historians are better than all other historians, and the one guy laughs at him.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's enough to where he's still basically adjusting, and that's why I wanted to pick this one. So it gets you past all the things that could be bogged down.
No, I thought it was a good choice. It's a very interesting show, considering I've never even heard of this before.
I don't know how you haven't heard of it before, John.
I don't.
You don't go swimming.
Oh, jeez. No, I just was never something that was really on my radar.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing that I really want to point out is the sets, the time they put into it, and the visuals in the film or not the film, but the show are really stunning in the areas that they are. And it looks like Netflix really took its time and put the effort into this one.
No, I was really amazed. There was nothing about this movie looked bad. The writing, TV show. Even the writing was spectacular.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've actually watched the first episode. I didn't get a chance to catch it again. This was Kublai Khan, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the grandson, if I'm not mistaken, of Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Just as a recommendation, there's a guy that does a podcast. His name's Dan Carlin. Does a podcast called Hardcore History.
Oh yeah.
He did like a 5-part, 6.5-hour long series called The Wrath of the Khans. I think it's like $1 per episode. For the thing, I mean, it's the most well worth it, most well researched. Putting sort of into context those visuals of that show, because I mean that's the one thing that really stood out in my mind was kind of the way they portrayed sort of the Eurasian steppe land, that they were on, just this expansive territory that the Khans covered, or the Mongols rather. It's really, really worth it to check. It's one of the coolest stories that you ever didn't really hear of in school.
Yeah.
I love the fighting scenes.
Oh yeah.
In this show, the very first fighting scene was the praying mantis guy.
Yeah.
And they were kind of, it sounds like they were making fun of him. Oh, he's the praying mantis master, and just beat the tar out of one of their best badass soldiers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was overall real impressed. It seemed to bog a little to me, but overall, it's fairly interesting. I don't know if I'm going to go back and watch it, but if I had nothing better to do, I'd watch it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, for me is high praise.
It's definitely one that I for some reason never got through all of season 2, so I'm working my way through season 2 now. But it is definitely worth a watch. If you guys haven't taken the time, take the time and do it.
So next week is our... next week, I am picking a movie that it's been on my list for a while and just never got a chance to see. It's going to be Mr. Holmes, 2015.
Oh. Huh.
Oh, cool. The one with...
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen, yeah.
Yeah, that was... I remember seeing the trailers and I'm going to watch that, and just never had enough time to see. And for a TV show, I was trying to pick one, and I just completely spaced it. So
okay.
that'll be to be
if
announced.
You want, I got one chambered.
Okay.
Chambered.
Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, bless these people, brought back The Tick.
Oh.
Live action.
Okay, we'll do
pilot
that
episode available on Amazon.com.
All right, what's the name again?
Chambered?
Chambered, yeah.
So I guess we'll do the first episode of Chambered. Hope you guys can find it. So
what?
Not everybody has Amazon Prime.
It's
inconceivable.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I gave Doctor Strange 2016 a 4.5 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 4 out of 5. James gave it a 4 out of 5. Next week, we're doing the movie Mr. Holmes, made in 2015. We're doing The Chambered, Season 1, Episode 1. And as always, thank you for watching.
Goodbye.